when they made the decision to give us back our rights to vote, we were happy. You know, we got our voters registration card. And now...
Oh, you have it with you?
Yes, and now it's like the rug been pulled from under us, like they undermining us.
Thousands of people like Sheila Singleton thought they'd finally won the right to vote in 2018. That year, Floridians approved a constitutional amendment restoring voting rights to former felons who'd served their full sentences and hadn't been convicted of murder or a sexual offense. But then, state legislators and Governor Ron DeSantis passed a new law that said former felons could only vote after they'd paid all fines and fees associated with their convictions. Voting rights advocates called that a poll tax. So Singleton and Rosemary McCoy sued.
When I found out about how much I owe.
How much do you owe right now?
And my restitution, I think $17,000.
How much more difficult do you think it is for you to be able to ever pay this money back?
We're not.
We're not?
We're not. How?
A judge in Florida sided with Singleton and McCoy, striking down the rule in May. But the state wasn't done fighting. The 11th Circuit Court in Atlanta will hear their appeal next week. And in the meantime, the court said that yet again, anyone with outstanding fees cannot vote in the upcoming election. Right now, the primary election in Florida is August 18th. That's when the oral arguments will be heard in the next step in this case. When you found that out, what did you think?
Rigged. That's what I said. Just a rigged system. It's a rigged system.
Lawyers representing people like Singleton and McCoy went to the Supreme Court, asking for their clients to be allowed to vote while the appeals court considers the case. Their request was denied. There are about 1.5 million people with felony convictions in Florida who became eligible to vote after Amendment 4 passed. And experts estimate that over half of them cannot afford to pay their fines and fees.
That's why they don't want us to vote. Because if we vote, we win. Just imagine what 1.5 million people could do.
It's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. And then you come back, how many days before we vote?
19.
19 days before we vote to tell us we can't vote. Something in that pudding ain't clean.
Nancy Abudu is the legal director for the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is representing McCoy and Singleton in court.
Florida is not alone. There are several states in this country that have felon disenfranchisement laws, and many of them do require, to some extent, the payment of fees to access one's right to vote.
In the meantime, the two women are working to help other people register to vote and making sure they have all the information they need to exercise their rights.
Yes, I just want to make sure that you got your voters registration in the mail.
Even if they can't vote, they're asking others to step up.
We encourage everyone else to get out and vote. And those people that's sitting on the sideline saying it doesn't work, that isn't true. If it didn't work,
why
would they
trying to stop us?
And while voting rights activists are keeping an eye on the courts, they're finding new allies in the NBA. More Than a Vote has recruited over 40 athletes and entertainers, including Udonis Haslem, the forward for the Miami Heat. Why did you get involved with this issue?
You know, for me, it was just about raising awareness, you know, for so many people, you know, including myself, you know, understanding, you know, what voter suppression is and how important right now it is to vote. With everything going on, especially, it's one thing to make our voices heard, and it's another thing to make an impact.
More Than a Vote has teamed up with the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition, which helped draft the amendment to restore rights and get it on the ballot. This week, the group announced they'd raised $2 million to pay off fines and fees for former felons.
These people did their time and, you know, now they're eligible to vote, and now you slap all these trumped up charges and fees. When you get out of jail, it's hard to get a job. You know, nobody wants to hire someone who's done time. We raised a lot of money. I don't know how many people we were able to help, but it won't stop after this election. I'm going to keep trying to fight it.
Do you know people that were personally affected by this law passing in Florida?
Yeah, I know a lot of guys that have, you know, been incarcerated and made mistakes. And I trust them with my life. They made mistakes. But, you know, if people look at the circumstances that some of the people have been in and some of the cards they have dealt, you know, You get put in a situation where you make bad choices at young ages sometimes.
As a native Floridian, how does Florida in particular affect your view on being involved in this issue?
Everybody knows Florida's big state to win. If you're trying to get an election, Florida's pretty big down there. If you're trying to win an election, you definitely want to try to make your impact and win Florida. So, like I said, understanding that a large part of the population that have lost their rights to vote are African American, and you want to give these people their right back to vote.